Hi besties, welcome back. In today's video we are making another banger, a video that you guys have highly requested, which is the second term's topics and the assessments per term. We are now going to the second term. How did the first term go? Please tell us know in the comment box. How did it go? Did you get your distinctions? And what tips that I offered you helped you secure those distinctions? I'm always excited to hear about whether my tips worked for you. Do let me know, and please don't forget to subscribe. The family is growing. We are close to 4,000 subscribers. Let us get straight right into it without wasting time. Okay, we are gonna start with grade 12 English, or Sivenda, or Setswana, or Afrikaans, or isiZulu. As long as it's home language, that's what we're talking about. So this term, there isn't really anything creative happening. So there isn't a paper 3. Yay. I know, because a lot of people don't really like paper 3s. And also, I'm not a fan of paper 3s because I feel like the marking is always subjective. Because I feel like a teacher from a school could give you this mark, the other could give you a different mark. So I'm not really a fan of it. So there are 2 oral assessments. There is either reading or unprepared and or unprepared speech, but there's going to be 2 10 marks each. Usually it's out of 30, then they convert it to 10. Okay, find the rubric online, and then there's a mid-year exam or a test. Most of the time provinces prefer to do the mid-year exams. So it's your paper 1 and paper 2. What does paper 1 have again? Comprehension, summary, cartoon, advert, and language structures. Right? And then we have what we call paper 2. So paper 2 is literature. And one thing you need to know is that you either going to do at least two genres. You're either going to do poetry, you're going to do a novel, a drama. What else is there? Novel, drama, poems. I forgot the other one. Short stories. How can I forget short stories, and I did them in high school? Anyways, so one of those. I've had some provinces do 3, but you'll need to know all of the content. Because it's a June exam, most likely your teacher will tell you which stories to focus on. But for me, I would advise you to practice for the final exam. In the final exam, they don't tell you what essays or what poems is going to come out. So, yes, I was saying I would recommend you read all of it. If it's the drama, read all of it, so that by the end of final exams, you're already used to studying everything and only expecting a few portions to come out. So make sure that you finish your literature. I've already provided tips on how to make literature, but I can make another new video. If you guys would like, let me know in the comments below. So that is with your home language. Guys, I'm featuring my Lenovo. Let us go now to first additional language. And majority of students, it's English, right? The first term was not so bad. Second term, it's quite a lot of tasks. There is task 2 and 3 for the oral. There is a reading. It's either reading or unprepared speech and a prepared one. So it's 20 marks each. Teachers might make it out of 100 and convert it to 20. So look at the rubric once again. I know when it comes to oral presentations, remember this comes also towards your final paper 4. We'll talk about that later. It's very important for you to have cue cards with visual aids. It usually helps in you securing higher marks. There's also going to be a literature assignment. So a literature assignment is out of 35. It's like 15 marks for one thing and then 20, and it includes creative writing. So 15 marks might be short questions about one piece of literature you read, and then the other 20 marks is usually for a short thing, either a diary entry related to the literature. Maybe they might say, write a diary entry as Isabel. For those that do My Children, My Africa, let me know if you actually do. Then you would know that. They would tell you that at the school. And then there's going to be mid-year exams or a control test. Like I said, schools prefer to make the mid-year exam. Paper 1 and paper 2, again similar to home language. So those are papers where you can score 100%. Nothing impacts your marks. Similar to what paper 2, paper 3 and readings, I could feel like your reading is okay, but you get 18. It's not good. Someone would be like, it's amazing. So here, the memo is the memo. So you can easily score marks if you just study what you need to know. That is what you're going to be doing for June for English. Let us go to accounting. Okay, so for accounting, the topics are inventory, valuation, fixed assets, internal control, cost accounting, and reconciliation. And then what do? you have a research project, and then it's going to be financial statements and audit reports, and then you're going to have either a test or a June exam. If it's a control test, it's going to be one test out of 150, but schools also can make it. But if it's June exams, you're going to have 2 papers. Then what do? You go to your exam and see which topics fall under paper 1 and paper 2. It's ideally, I think, 2 hours, total of 300 marks. That is what you'll be doing for accounting. So make sure you know which topic falls. And then let's do agricultural sciences. People are saying I've been neglecting agric, and I don't like neglecting my agric kids. Okay? There is animal production, animal diseases and protection, internal and external parasites, basic agricultural genetics, patterns of inheritance. So if you do life sciences grade 12, you already have a fair advantage towards this topic because it's genetics that you're going to be doing. Selection, GMOs, and what is going to be there? Either a test or June exam. If it's a test, it's just going to be 150. If not, it's going to be 2 papers, either 75, or 2 papers, 150, a total of 300 marks. And it's typically the same time as life sciences, 2.5 hours. Let us go to business studies. Okay, let's talk about the business kids who are going to be opening businesses. Business sectors in their environments, quality of performance, management and leadership, investments for insurance and security is what you're going to be doing. And then you're going to do team performance and conflict management. You have a presentation, 50 marks, and then you have either a control test or 2 June exams out of 300, 150, 150. It depends on the school or the district. Ideally, it's going to be 2 papers, so prepare for that. Okay? And you know the structure. Perfect. Let us move on to what? What did I forget? The last time someone said I forgot history, and I'm not going to do that. Let's go to economics, then we'll. Have you noticed we're going in like a alphabetic order? Economics, you have dynamics of markets, both the perfect and imperfect, and the market failures, international trade policies and economic growth and development. And then what do you have? A research project and a test all. So always assume that you're going to have a June exam with paper 1 and paper 2, 150 each. We know the structure again. Section A is usually compulsory, B only 2, section C you only choose 1 question. That is how it's typically. But always read your instructions every time you do economics paper. Geography, my geography. So for geography, let's see, there is a different structure for the provinces that are inland and those that are not inland. But ideally by second term, everyone is going to be doing what we've called, you'll be finishing off fluvial processes and starting with settlements. Settlements is going to be done. And another topic, okay, economic geography is for the 3rd term. Your teachers might push, but settlements is a topic you need to do. Okay, so that talks about the rural settlement issues, a study of settlements, urban settlements and their issues, the urban hierarchy, the patterns, and the urban settlement issues. You know, we have urban traffic congestion, lack of planning, all of those things you're going to need. And also remember they're going to ask you these, but let's not dwell into it. What are you writing? You have a research. You have research that you're going to do out of 100 marks. Guys, that research you can easily score a distinction. Check the rubric before you do the assignment. If you have 10 answers for this, how much do you get? Okay, that is the tip. We'll talk about it later. You'll either have a test or an exam. 1 exam, that's going to include everything, and it's going to be 150. Remember the test counts 75%. Let's go to my history babes. Who does history? I need to see. Someone said you are not taking care of the history kids. Now, who's doing history? Comment down below. Let's see who does history. History 2nd term, there's going to be civil resistance in South Africa from the 1970s to the 1980s. The coming of democracy to South Africa, especially with terms of the past, the end of the Cold War and the New World. That is what you're going to do. And then what are you going to have as an assessment? You are going to have a research assignment out of 100 marks and exam, 2 exams, paper 1 and paper 2. And you know that the Cold War, the Vietnam, and you need to know the case studies because the essays are like 100 marks and then source base is usually like 50. So make sure that you know, because you can choose. Remember, there's also an option of choosing. Make sure you understand how you choose. Okay. But ideally, the source base should either cover the crisis of apartheid, the internal resistance, or the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And the essay should talk about the challenge of black consciousness to the apartheid state, or negotiated settlements of the government and national unity, or the end of the Cold War and the war events of 1989. So try and make sure you know those essays. Okay? But remember, once again, different provinces, different structures. Okay. Let us go to my favorite subject, life orientation. What are you doing for LO? You did your first task for LO, and I hope you guys got those distinctions. Now, the second term, what do? You have another project, but let's talk about the topics for the project. It's a topic that a lot of kids don't like, democracy and human rights. And it's such a big topic, it takes 7 weeks, and there's social and environmental responsibilities. So you're going to talk about human rights and the violations, the role of the media. And you're also going to talk about sports and nation building, a favorite question they like asking in tests and exams, the different levels of government. So if they talk about mismanagement of funds, this is the topic. We know how the different levels. Go to your grade 11 notes and be aware of that. And then the responsibilities of those different levels. And also a mission state, a personal mission and a vision statement for life based on your personal views. Know what ideologies are. That's a concept people like not going through. Grade 11 content, look at the beliefs, the values. We spoke about these spiritual issues, dilemmas, environmental issues causing illnesses, inhumane farming methods. Please make sure that you understand those because they can be applied onto your assignment or the third term test. So depending on your province, you're going to write a test at the end of term 2 when schools are closing, just 2 to 3 days before, because it's going to count for your term 3 mark, not term 2. Term 2, it's the practical and a physical education. Some schools will make you write the test just the first week of opening of the third term. So try and understand from your school where their structure or the plan is. Life sciences, genetics, responding to the environment for humans and plants. And then the human endocrine system. So now we are getting into the biology of things now. Once again, advice, exam guideline, but we'll talk about that later. The assessments, you're also going to have a practical and an exam. An exam, 150 marks. Some of you guys actually wrote tests for 150 in the first term. Crazy. But it's to also get you used to writing for a large amount of marks. You get that? So that is what we'll be doing for life sciences. It's going to be one paper. Most provinces will do one paper. It's a lot of work to do multiple papers. Let us go to mathematical literacy. Maths lit, measurements, maps and plans. Then revision. You are going to have an assignment out of 50 and mid-year exam, paper 1 and paper 2. And we know that in our paper 1 there is finance and data handling and a bit of probability, 5%. Probabilities in both papers, but we know maps and plans and measurements are paper 2. Make sure you focus on that because a lot of learners tend to do very poorly in paper 2. Even in mathematics, kids do very poorly in mathematics, paper 2. Topics for term 2. All the topics that kids hate or don't like, but let's change our attitudes this year. Your attitude is everything. Euclidean geometry, grade 11. So before you start this during the holidays, make sure you know your grade 11 Euclidean geometry. Analytical geometry is not bad. Calculus is also not so bad. You can do well, it's in paper 1. You're going to have an assignment and an exam, paper 1 and paper 2. Awesome. Are we good? We're still together, right? We are going to what subject? Excuse me. Physical sciences. Physical sciences this time didn't seem too bad. We're going to do work, power, and energy, Doppler effect, rate and extent of chemical reaction, chemical equilibrium, acid and bases. Then what happens here? You had a practical in the first term, right? You had a practical, and this term there's also going to be another practical. Then you're going to have two papers, 150, 150, or it can be a test where it's 75 physics, chemistry, but ideally they like to make two papers for physics. I know examiners for physics are never too tired to set a new paper. They all start from scratch. And then formal tasks, you are going to do a practical, either to determine unknown concentrations of an acid or a base using titration, or you're going to do temperature and concentration between certain reactions, or factors determining the rate of a reaction, or it's going to be the work done on a particular thing, working on stairs, what you might call. It will depend on your district on what experiment you do. But remember that you need to know how to answer experiment or practical questions. You know that. Like in life sciences, the independent, the dependent variable, you know how to answer those, right? Okay. I think we have come to the end. No, wait. We have one more subject. Tourism. Who took tourism this year and they are very happy? Tourism, we're going to do map, work, and tour planning. Tourist attractions, domestic, regional, and international tourism. Marketing and foreign exchange. Foreign exchange, they're going to ask you to calculate, my besties. If they give you money in maybe USDs to rand, and they'll also give you the exchange rate that they want you to use. That is it. But what are you doing? You have a PET, so a skills assessment and an exam. Okay. The exam is usually out of 100, 150, depending on the school or district. So that is what you're doing. So grade 12s, we are done. See you again before you write your preparatory exams. Bye, besties, and please make sure that you subscribe. Bye.